Republican candidate for Texas Attorney General George P. Bush joins us now. Thanks for joining us this week.
Great to be with you.
So Texans know you as their General Land Office Commissioner right now. What more do they need to know about you?
Well, I'm a father of two boys who are 8 and 6, and a proud husband of a beautiful West Texan who I met in law school here in Austin. I'm a patriot. I'm an American who served in our nation's military during Operation Enduring Freedom. I'm a Texan. I've loved Texas history since I was a kid, and that's why I joined the Bob Bullock State History Museum a few years back when I was a private citizen. And that's why I ran for land office, because we are a protector of the rich history of this great state, including the day-to-day management of the Alamo. And so that will be one aspect of the job that I'll miss, Maggie. But as Texans, we're very proud, and it's been awesome to be your land commissioner these last 8 years.
So the race has gotten a little more crowded since we last spoke in June when you announced this campaign. All four of you are pitching yourself as a conservative fighter. So what exactly differentiates you from those others?
Well, so I think this campaign comes down to executive experience. I'm the only one that's run organizations in the private sector, the public sector, and also in the military. I'm ready to start this job day one. I don't need any training. I've been in and out of the halls of power in the legislature. I've spoken truth to power. I've reformed and downsized a balance sheet using my private sector background, and I'm going to do the same at the Attorney General's office. This office needs to be turned upside down. It needs to be reformed. There's way too much bureaucracy, and we need to attract new talent to the most important law firm in the state of Texas.
Are there any specific political issues that you differ from your opponents on?
So right now I have the most aggressive public policy platforms as it relates to, I believe, the most important issues in our state as it relates to the Attorney General. First to securing the border. I've been endorsed by the National Border Patrol Council, the union that represents the 19,000 Border Patrol agents that keep the watch, because of my national security background. They know that I would be toughest on the border, holding the Biden administration accountable, and working with the Mexican government so that they do their job to prevent this flow of illegal immigration to the southern border. Secondly, I'm the only one with a very precise plan as it comes to backing our law enforcement in Texas, whether it's pushing back on the defund the police movement, working on Brady List reform, making sure that our law enforcement officials are honored in our state rather than criticized and prosecuted, including the Travis County DA right here in Austin.
Let's talk about one of your opponents, the incumbent Attorney General Ken Paxton. You've been critical of him pretty openly since the start of your campaign, but he was also under indictment during the last election and still won. So what do you think you can do to convince voters this time around that he is not the person for the job?
Well, regretfully, he is facing 99 years of sentencing in a Harris County jail for deceiving investors for his own personal gain. And since that time, and since 4 years ago, while I was helping the governor rebuild the Texas Gulf Coast after Hurricane Harvey, and he gets investigated by the FBI for potential corruption and abuse of office charges. Look, this is Texas. We've got 28 million people. We deserve to have an attorney, a top attorney, that's above criminal approach, not out on criminal bond, and focused on the day-to-day challenges of the good people of our state.
That being said, do you think he should resign?
Absolutely, but I don't think he has it in him to do it. He knows, as a good lawyer does, the best way to stay out of jail is to delay the cases. And for the securities fraud case that he faces, we're in year 7. What I've challenged him to do is actually sit down under the 6th Amendment and exercise your right to a trial. And sit in front of your peers, and let's clear the air. Ken, why won't you sit down for a jury trial and see if you truly are innocent?
Moving on now, the Trump endorsement is still coveted in Republican primaries, and Trump has already endorsed Paxton. Do you see this as a loss that you have to make up for? And how are you going to convince those voters who do go by the Trump endorsement that you are the right person for them?
Well, it's no longer dispositive. I've maintained a great relationship with President Trump. We have visited several times. He likes my policies. He has supported me in the past, and I'll continue to reach out to his supporters. But the best person to carry on that agenda is me. I'm going to be above reproach. I'm going to secure the border. I'm going to back law enforcement. I'm going to put our state first. That's what the president wants. And just like Jake Ellsey did in his congressional race in North Texas in the special election this summer, talking about his military veteran background and reaching out to Trump supporters, you can win. And there's still a very wide pathway to victory in this race.
One of the other candidates, Eva Guzman, has been critical of your qualifications for the job, and she points to her years as a Texas Supreme Court justice. So what's your response to her claim that you lack the qualifications?
So this campaign is about executive experience. This agency is 4,200 full-time employees with a budget of about $660 million. At the land office, I've ran an agency of 800 full-time employees with a $3.5 billion budget. So I'm ready to lead on day one. I've been a lawyer in the private sector, in the public sector. I've run organizations in the military as well. And so I'm ready to start this job and ready to serve.
Moving on, if you do win the primary looking forward and then you then go on to win the election, what are your biggest priorities for the Attorney General office?
Well, first we got to rebuild the relationship with the legislature. Because of the broken relationship, this agency's powers have been stripped. And that's why I've campaigned on the idea of prosecuting human trafficking more aggressively in Texas. Ken Paxton has prosecuted approximately 0 cases and convicted 0 during his time. This is the fastest growing crime, and young Texas women should not be for sale in our state. So I will walk to the halls of power, and I will expand the authorities of this agency, restore integrity and trust, and make sure that we have the talent to go out and fill in the gaps that our law enforcement tell me every single day that we're missing in the halls of power in Austin.
All right, Republican candidate George P. Bush, thanks for joining us today.
Great to be with you.